stats here real quick with Conrad. Conrad has had just a hell of a transformation. Let me first say, this guy's put in the work through the system, and he's gotten great results. So I'm just going to run through these real quick for you. So he actually started, Conrad did, at 245 pounds, and over a course of 90 days got down to 218 pounds. That's just under 30 pounds, which is fantastic. His body fat percentage went from 25% all the way down to 17%, which is an 8% difference. His visceral fat, which is actually really cool that you got this statistic for me. Visceral fat, if you don't know, is actually the fat that's in the midsection. It's the one that's surrounding the organs. You want to lose this visceral fat if you want to get really healthy. And if you want to be really healthy, you want to be below 13. And Conrad started at 13 and he actually ended up at 9. So you're healthy as hell now, buddy. And then also on top of that, which is a really cool statistic, is the weight without fat. So Conrad's weight without fat before joining the program was 165 pounds. So 165 pounds of pure lean muscle. And then after, it was actually 180 pounds after going through the transformation. So just in the course of 90 days, he put on 15 pounds of muscle mass. Does that sound about right? Is that kind of how you're feeling right now, Conrad?
It's dead on. Like I said, it's you know, feel smaller, but yet, act a lot bigger. I would say. So, I'm a bull in the Chihuahua's body. I like to put it. My body's getting smaller, but I'm stronger and stronger, and I'm pushing a lot more weight and heavier weight, throughout the program. So, on top of all those great stats, I know a lot of people if you're looking not necessarily on the weight loss side, but on the strength side, basically all my major lifts have gone up almost 50 pounds per lift. So, bench press went from 150 to, over 205 now, doing squats at 250. Now I'm at 300. Deadlift, same thing, 250, now 300, pull-ups, chin-ups, dips, was doing them at body weight or with assistance with resistance bands. Now I'm pumping 5 to 10 with 45-pound plates on my waist. So, major improvement in that. I'm an avid volleyball player, played, professionally, nationally, provincially, varsity, you call it. Yeah, huge improvements on the court, on the sand, a lot quicker, covering a lot more court, jumping a higher, hitting a harder. Blocking form is a lot better, bigger forearms, bigger space to block, and just core strength as well for the vertical and the blocking. Everything has improved dramatically. So, I remember joking with Matt. He's like, I'm going to get you doing some leg lifts. I can't even do one leg lift when I started. Now I'm pumping 10 to 15 off per session. So core has improved. Everything's improved overall. Obviously, I look better. My wife is complimenting me all the time. Family and friends are complimenting me at the pool, at the beach. So, that's just the added benefit on it I would say the icing on the cake.
Yeah, 100%. And just not even besides like the strength and the stats, but overall just healthy now.
Yeah.
Feeling good, looking good. You're healthy, dude. Let's talk a
Exactly.
little bit about really kind of the program in general and what you thought about it as far as kind of maybe programs you've been through in the past and what you've seen, and then compared to what you got in this program that you really enjoyed, but yet made you go like, boy, this is actually why I got the results.
For sure. Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, avid, volleyball player, played in different levels. I wasn't new to the gym or new to working out. I told Matt when we first met, I work out 6-7 days a week for at least an hour, 2 hours a day. I'm doing cardio 30 to 40 minutes a day. Working out's not the problem.
Right.
And again, I wouldn't say workout's not the problem. I was working out, but was I working out properly, right? So when I met Matt, I kind of said, where I really need some help is really, what do I need to work out? Can I work out less and get better results? Or, because I wasn't really getting results. I was kind of plateauing, I would fluctuate from 250 to 235 was kind of the range I would fluctuate. And I was straight up honest with that. I said, I'm well familiar. My nutrition is not on key, not on point. I cheat all the time. I was mentioning I eat out at least twice a week, if not 3-4 times a week.
Yeah,
But
I
minimum
remember
twice
that.
a week. I do love cooking. I cook for myself, so cooking wasn't a problem. So it really was no excuse. It was just laziness of, let's order out versus cooking something healthy, right? And obviously, through the conversations, self-reflection comes into play, right? So,
Sure.
I'm seeing my daughters used to eating pizza 2-3 times a week, and now when it comes to real food, she's picky, right? So, I want to break that habit right off the get-go for all you parents out there. You don't want to live through that of your kid only eating McDonald's and pizza and things like that. So, and I want her to be healthy as well. Obviously, my aspirations with two girls is, eventually I would like to coach them in beach volleyball, and they have their own team and are super successful, and hopefully, win some gold medals at the Olympics. But so I'd say, like, I would always use the cookie cutter, I call them the cookie cutter programs that you can find on bodybuilder.com and all these great,
Sure.
fitness groups that, unless you really know what you're doing and you're really key into it, will get you some results, but it'll stop eventually, right? Same with the
Right.
nutrition plans, right? They're built for these guys who are bodybuilders who are working out, crazy amounts of time. Not the typical person, and also not the typical results I want. Like I mentioned to Matt, I'm an athlete. I don't want to be big as a house because I won't be able to move on the court. I need to be tall, lanky, but strong still. So, how do I get more power, lose weight, but still keep the power and have kind of the agility that I need to play and not gas out either? Because that's the other thing. A lot of people like to go, lose weight. I'm just going to go strictly cardio and then lose all this muscle mass. And then, you have great cardio, but then you have no muscle, or the complete opposite. Go hard on weights and no cardio, and then you're gassed out after 5 minutes on the court. So,
Right.
that's really what I was looking for, was leaning down, but, maintaining or increasing power. And getting results on the court. Obviously, I'm looking, now that I have kids, I'm looking to get back to playing, in a semi-pro league again in beach volleyball are some of my aspirations.
That's
Obviously,
great.
getting down to a certain body type and body fat percentage. Obviously, me, as Matt mentioned, I invested in equipment where I know what my visceral fat, my sub fat, my body fat, my BMI are.